Welcome back to DC Silver Age story time. And today's story is from Superman 127, published in February 1959, When There Was No Clark Kent. A story by Jerry Coleman and art by Kurt Swan. Perry White says, Lois, Jimmy, I still can't believe Clark Kent is dead. He was almost like my son. There's Superman back there. I can't tell them Clark is really alive in his other identity as Superman, so referring to himself in the third person. From this day on, I must stay in the open as Superman without any secret identity. So, all right, it's just a funny start. There's this totem pole, and it's cracking and falling, and then Clark just runs off. It won't fall anywhere near us. There's no danger for you to run away from Clark. Must you always be so timid? So he's out of there. And this is what kind of cracks me up. So it's toppling over. And rather than catch it or anything, I guess there's just no time. He just blows it off. A puff of my super breath, and away it goes into space. So back at the Daily Planet, Perry White is sending Clark on a story to the famous Bottle Works. Lois says, that should be interesting. I'll meet you there after I cover the Veterans Convention. Probably not that interesting. So, back in the Silver Age, for some reason, they thought that advertising companies or companies like to show giant versions of their product. And so there's the famous Bottle Works. And so he goes inside, and there's all these bottles in the shape of people's faces. And so he goes in there. Perry will like this stunt. He's sitting in the bottle. Too bad there isn't a photographer with me to snap this scene. So apparently in the factory, there is a vat full of chemicals that explode. And the explosion blows Clark Kent's clothes off, leaving Superman. And when Lois arrives, she assumes that Clark has died because she sees Superman, but not Clark Kent. He's gone. Poor Clark. So she dresses in mourning and says, I can't eat a morsel, Superman. Somehow I feel that Clark's here with us in spirit. Why, sure he is, Lois. I'm absolutely certain of that. And he is. So Superman, in an inexplicable move, decides that he's going to move in with Jimmy Olsen. No one ever knew it, Jimmy, but I used to live with Clark in secret at his apartment. Now that he's gone, do you mind if I live with you? So he apparently has decided to just forego having a secret identity. He's just going to live with Jimmy Olsen as Superman. Mind, gosh, Superman, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So he moves in and he puts on his door, Jimmy Olsen and Superman. So they live in 4H. And they seem to have just announced to everyone. So when he goes on patrol, everyone is outside, including the Metropolis Tour. Out of the street, please. Keep order, please. Folks, on your left is where Superman lives. Whew. Now that everybody knows where Superman lives, we need dozens of cops to keep order. Gosh, now he has no more privacy than a goldfish. I wonder, is Superman doing this the right thing, living without a secret identity? Nope, he isn't. So they're getting calls, they're getting requests, including from the super, who asks to check the oil burner. So Superman goes down there and repairs their boiler, and kids ask him to do tricks with hula hoops. So he's getting bothered all the time. All these letters are for you, Superman. Where should we put them? Gosh, they would fill Jimmy's apartment to overflowing. Just wait a second, boys. I'll be right back. So he creates a gigantic mailbox, which I don't think solves the problem. So meanwhile, we have some criminals. Haha, Trigger. I got it all set tomorrow. We spring our trap. Superman doesn't know it, but when he let us know where he's living, he signed his own death warrant. So it's just a madhouse outside of his apartment, including a balloon. It's even crowded up here. What did I let myself into? So they decide they're going to lower a big giant kryptonite rock. So that is a hell of a rock for some regular street thugs. So the kryptonite rock is lowered, and as he's, I guess, climbing in through the window, he loses his power. He looks down and decides he can drop down. Just as I hoped, my steel body crashed right through the pavement. So I guess even though he's being affected by the kryptonite, his body is still steel because he saw that there was a subway coming, so he dropped on the top of it. I'll never again do without a secret identity after last night's experience. If only I could revive Clark and wait that small bottle in the water. What an idea. I could make a huge bottle, and of course, that's it. So, a boat is out in the water, and they find Clark in a giant bottle. I get it. The explosion blew the bottle clear off the roof, out to the sea, and you've been floating in it for days. What a lucky escape. Yeah. That's the story I want the world to believe, and if the captain believes it, so will everyone else. Thank goodness, I can now resume my secret identity of Clark Kent, and after what's happened, the whole world will realize why I must always have a secret identity. So you took your jacket and hat off before entering the bottle. Since you knew it would be hot in there, you can't blame us for assuming you were killed when we found your clothes in shreds. They believe every detail of the story, and I can't tell the true one, which will have to remain an untold story of Superman. Now, here's the thing. He could have no secret identity. He just don't announce where you live. That makes no sense. He's basically saying, I have to have a secret identity. You could live at live at the Fortress of Solitude. At his speed, he could get to Metropolis every day in the blink of an eye, or just become someone else. I'm not saying, okay, he wants to become Clark Kent again, but there is absolutely no reason that this story actually gave why he needs to have a secret identity. My understanding was the reason he had a secret identity was because he wanted to utilize the resources of a newspaper to find information, but it really doesn't make sense. But anyway, still a fun story. When there was no Clark Kent, Superman 127.